Today we have Nimrod from Israel. We'll talk about daily.dev, mainly. But how are you, Nimrod?
Thank you, Francesco. It's such a pleasure to be hosted in your interview series.
Yeah, and here you interview all developers. So first of all, Nimrod, how did you become a developer?
Oh, you're mean. So yeah, the honest truth is that I'm not a developer. So
Okay, bye. Sorry for that. Bye.
No, guys, please don't go.
Okay,
I hope that
okay,
you will enjoy the rest of the
okay,
session.
okay. I leave you a chance. Please explain me why are you here.
All right. So basically, I decided to devote the next years of my life to helping developers to stay up to date in what's going on in the tech world.
Okay, you can stay. Okay, please go on. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm like briefly about myself, so we get to know each other. So I'm 29 years old. I'm coming from Israel, and I'm one of the team members of daily.dev, which is a developer tool that we made in order to help developers make it super easy and super simple to get all the programming news you'll ever need, and only the high quality stuff first. And we're a team of 3 people coming from here.
Wow. Yeah, and I've tried that. I would never say that it's just 3 people. So congratulations to your developer. I don't know how many, maybe just one, but he or she is doing a great job. Can you please tell a little bit more about this? And also, for example, I'd like also to hear the story of daily.dev because it's interesting, I think, for me, and also for people watching this.
Sure, yeah. So actually, the funny thing about daily.dev is that it started as a side project. So originally, Ido, Tsachi, and I were the 3 partners in daily.dev. We co-founded another company that we saw that for our own developers in our teams, they were spending a lot of time to just finding, interesting content out there. And the problem was that the content is widespread. Like today, every developer has its own blog, and there's so many good stuff out there. But if I want to really stay updated, I need to go through a lot of magazines, and it's very difficult, to know the quality of the content before you read it. And after you read it, it's kind of like it doesn't make sense anymore. I already wasted my time. So we thought that perhaps we should make a tool for ourselves, for our own developers in our own team, just to make it easier and to save a lot of time. And apparently one day somebody found it, a guy that we don't even know about, and he posted us on Product Hunt. And ever since then, it grew organically, and we started gaining more and more users, and we slowly but steady realized that, hey, we have something here that people want. So this is basically how daily.dev started.
Yeah, and I see an analogy here with Docker because I'm so much into Docker. So that started as a side project for that company. It was an open source project, and after a while, it was growing so much. So I wish you the same success as Docker. So, but I really like this approach of doing something for yourself because you really put some effort into making this. Maybe not, and also I think that you can understand the problems. This is very good. I think that if you know what, as you said, what you really need, for example, in your case, to stay updated, so you understand what the users could need. Yeah.
There's like something magical in making a product that doesn't have the intention to become a business. So and I doesn't have anything against products that are aiming to become a business from the first day, but there's something magical about it that you just do something that you or your friends or your colleagues would want, and you don't care whether you're going to monetize it or not. You just want to solve a problem. You just want to make lives easier. And based on what I've seen in the past few years, being an entrepreneur and founding different startups, the most successful stories actually start that way. And it was right under our nose for nearly 3 years before we realized that there is something here that's happening that we're not aware of.
Right. Yeah, no, yeah, yeah. Also, yeah, in my opinion, as you said, I don't know if you. I've heard some stories about some successful startups. And they started, yeah, as you said, maybe they didn't have that. I don't know if you can have to have a business plan, something like that. Maybe it's useful, but in my opinion, the ideas are more important. This is my opinion, of course. Of course, it
Mhm.
depends also maybe on what you want to do, but yeah, yeah. So
Definitely.
yeah, so can you explain me how it works? Even if I've used that already, because I've seen sometimes you've also featured me sometimes some articles of mine. Thank you for that. So can you explain me how it works?
All right, sure. So Daily.dev is actually pretty simple, right? The concept is that we constantly scan different articles and different magazines and blogs, and we gather all the different articles inside our database, and then we start displaying the posts on our feed. Then what happens next is that we have around nearly 80,000 developers worldwide that are constantly watching the feed and consuming dev news, so we can see what kind of articles they like more than others based on what
Nice.
they read. And then we have a certain algorithm that we developed that takes into account the freshness of the articles. So we want to bring, the most fresh news out there,
Yeah.
and the engagement, like how times people read the article. And we also have the option to upvote, which is like a direct declaration of like this is
Yeah.
really good stuff. And this is how we rank the feed.
Yeah, yeah. So I think this is pretty simple, but in my opinion, it works. I've seen that working. Yeah, it works in a very good way. Thank you for explaining this. Yeah, so as you said, you are just three, or I don't remember
Yes,
the number of
that's right.
people. Yeah, so I think that you are overwhelmed with with work to do, and also yeah. So thank you also for finding time, yeah, to talk with me. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure for me, yeah, because sometimes it's hard also, yeah, to promote a little bit. So I'm happy to doing this. Yes. So. Um, for example, I really like the open source projects contributions. I've had here Hedi Jawood, who has been the GitHub Stars of the year 2020. So it's like an Oscar in that case
Yes.
for us. It's yeah. So yeah. So in your case, being an open source project, I think that you rely maybe on some, I don't know, some help from other developers. Maybe you get interested. Yeah, I'll take a look, of course, on the repository. But how can I or some people watching this could help you or contribute to your project?
Sure. So first of all, like I think that the decision to go 100% open source was probably the most important decision that we ever made in daily.dev, because for us people that are always on the internet, like trust is such an important factor, and the ability to be open source and to be transparent about what we do, we think it's a great strength and definitely not a weakness. And we saw that from the moment daily.dev became an open source about 1.5 years ago, people started to contribute. So the way to engage with us in that sense is, first of all, if you have a feature, or if you have an idea that you want to bring to life, so what can be better than having this idea in your mind and then suggesting it and perhaps even developing it, and a moment later, like tens of thousands of developers would be able to use it instantly. So I think this is a pretty big impact factor that we offer for contributors. The fact that we're in production with so many users is
Yeah.
probably unique. And there's also the option, to help us fix bugs. Like there's always some issues coming up.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think, yeah, I really like this idea. In my opinion, it's more about the mindset. And for example, if you find, for example, some of the things that I'd like to do in 2021, I've done maybe in the past, but I worked, for example, for a private company, so every code is reserved and something like that. So I want to change this. So I'll take a look at that. Thank you. We'll post the link, of course. And as you said, maybe it can also be useful, yeah, if you participate in these kind of things. So yeah, thank you.
Of course, of course.
Thank you. We'll see. I don't know if you ever had some contribution from some other developers, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, thank you.
There's a
So
lot of kind of contributions. Like for instance, I'm not a developer, but I've been contributing a lot to the docs, like to writing the documentation,
yeah,
keeping that updated, and this kind of stuff is also
yeah.
important.
Yeah. And in my opinion, maybe a person who is not developer maybe is even better at writing some documentation because maybe he can really understand the problem, the process. Yeah, I think this can be. Yeah, you can contribute anyway. Yeah. So yeah. So thank you. Yeah. So okay, which are your projects for the futures for this 2021? Do you have something in your mind already? Of course,
Mhm.
maybe this could change in the future, but yeah, now today, which are your plans?
So I'll tell you what, like the thing about Daily Dev is that the most important part of it is the community, right? We have such an amazing community that is so active and is so engaged. So one of our biggest targets for 2021 is to empower the community. And we already started rolling out some of our plans. So I think the biggest thing for us right now happening is a new series of online events that we call it the monthly dev.
Nice,
It's we try to bring some kind of TED for developers, if you can say that. So our
nice,
goal is that once a month we'll bring world-class speakers, free for everyone. You don't have to be a daily dev user to participate, and just hear, very interesting idea, top-notch technologies, and those kind of stuff. So we want to give back to the community. This is one thing we're doing, and the second thing is that as of now, daily.dev is a browser extension, so it's available for Chrome, Firefox, and Edge, but we see many people who love other browser extensions on their new tab. So we're now starting to expand to another platform, which is progressive web app. So we're going to have it, of course, fully responsive, so you'd be
hmm
able to use it on as a web page or in your mobile, whatever you prefer. So that can be a really big opportunity to engage a lot of people that were kind of reluctant to use browser extensions for reasons that we get. Yeah.
yeah. Thank you. I think that this can be yeah, super useful for you and also for the user, so they can choose whatever they want. You reach more people, and I really like this part of organizing online events. Maybe if you would have said this to me maybe 3 or 4 months ago, I would be so scared about that. Instead, now, if you want me to come there to say to know, I don't know, something, something basic, of course. Yeah, no, basically nothing. But yeah, so
Yes, and by the way, like we started it as a pilot. Like everything in a startup, and especially like a company like Daily Dev, is kind of an experiment. So we rolled out the
yeah,
first event, and we already have like 1,200 developers signed up. So
great.
this is pretty amazing, and we hope to see more people joining us.
Yeah, and I think that this year is the perfect one. Sorry for this adjective, perfect, but by being in these hard times, maybe a lot of people, they're online. And yeah, they prefer, maybe they just need to watch online events. Everything is online. If I'm now, if a
Yeah.
person it says to me, now I have me in a new group. I think about virtual groups. Now I don't know if it is the same for you, for you, but
It's exactly the same. Exactly
yeah,
the same.
yeah, that's it. So I think, yeah, this is perfect timing for doing this. Yeah, and I think that you have chosen also a very great community. Let me say this, because I think that the developer community is really alive. So really, people, they like to watch things. They like to participate, to talk about their topics. I don't know, well, their favorite technology. What are they using? What they think that is the best? Yeah. So sometimes there are some fights. So sometimes we
Yeah.
joke about that. Yeah, and of course JavaScript is the best programming language, of course. But but I really like this idea of organizing something where people can speak and also people can watch. Yeah, also I like also the idea that you say that everyone can participate to this. I think that you will get way yeah, better feedbacks by allowing people without that have not the daily.dev extension, because they are, I think that if you're sure about your product, you become so open-minded. You're really open to anything. So, yeah, in my opinion, you are giving a very good yeah, idea of what you're doing. Yeah, you believe in this project. I think
Thank you
I
very
see
much.
that. I see that in your eyes. So I wish you really the best for this. Yeah, yeah. Do
I'll
you?
tell you
Yeah,
what, it is such an important mission, I think, that today, that especially now that most developers are just working from home, so it's such an important mission to bring the knowledge to you in the most easiest way. And in 2021, like, unlike if we were talking a few years ago, it might still be true, but not as true as today. One developer can write a single line of code that would go to hundreds of millions of users, of people around the world. So being able, to bring you guys the most important updates that's going on can potentially influence, even my grandfather that is getting some kind of app in the healthcare space, and
yeah.
so many other
Yeah.
use cases.
Yeah, yeah, I have the here some days ago one developer who is a YouTuber, but also he works at Skype, for example. So what he does, yeah, it has a huge impact. I also worked for the European Space Agency, so I understand this. Yeah, it's a good and also a bad feeling, but yeah, usually it's good that you do something that has an impact that is visible to a lot of users, a lot of developers at the same time. So it's a good feeling. Yeah, it's a good feeling. If everything goes right, it's
As long as it goes to the right purpose, right? So at the end of the day, we want to help developers become a better version of themselves, and a very small, tiny bit. Like, obviously, we're not even a major part in that. We're just an assistance from the side. But if we can make even 1% improvement on a large audience, that hopefully would make a big impact on our lives.
Yeah, yeah. And in my opinion, if you see, for example, a bug, maybe something very little that is not working on an open source project, instead of, I don't know, losing time complaining about that, why are you doing this? I have so many friends for example, I have one friend who is a Node maintainer, Matteo Collina. Sometimes he complains about that because he also maintains Node. So I can just imagine how many people are just complaining without doing anything. Instead, maybe you could use that same time to at least try to do something. You can also make a pull request. Maybe you can get some comments. Yeah. So I think yeah, it could be maybe a better way to use your time as a developer. This is my opinion. So and also yeah, it could be useful for your mindset. So if you see something that is broken, maybe as you said, even some very small things. I'm not talking about super big features because maybe alone maybe it's hard. But so in my opinion, this could be a good idea, and also yeah, to get in contact also with you, with your team. I don't know, but
Of
this
course,
could
yeah,
be.
we answer everybody. So this is like one of our rules that we really hope that we'll be able to keep up as we grow, is that we never get a message and ignore. For some companies, it starts happening that you grow, you become big, and then
Oh,
suddenly you forget about the people that they are your community. So one of our internal rules is that we never ignore anyone. So if you have an idea, if you want anything, like, my email address is out there. Everybody can reach out, and I always love to talking to developers, because, as you said, it's the most amazing audience. So opinionated, so smart, and open and frank. It's amazing.
yeah. I've discovered this Twitter community 1 year ago, and I totally changed my mind about socials because before I was just thinking that this was just a waste of time. You just work and that's it. Socials are just, I don't know, to watch something when you're really super stressed, you're really tired. But it's not like that. I had so many people that they found their job by using Twitter and also some tools.
Yeah.
It can be really useful. And also, in my opinion, as you said, you are also in some ways you are giving voice also to people. So, for example, if you are a content creator, if you do a great article, you are also helping them maybe to reach other people. So I also said, but the content creator side, because this is
Mhm.
important also for me, you are also helping them. Yeah, maybe indirectly you can even help people to find a job, in my opinion, because the more people that can watch content, maybe one, yeah, maybe one
Yeah.
article that, yeah, maybe we have maybe some managers, some recruiters who maybe could use maybe this extension to reach some good articles. I will, yeah, I would do
There
that.
is an infinite amount of interactions that can happen here. Like there are so many things, and just yesterday we got a really big thank you letter that I'm probably going to publish later today from one of our community members that shared the analytics with us, and he said like, "Hey guys, look, this was the graph that I had of readers before you picked up my articles, and then there is this huge spike."
Yeah.
After his article got picked up by Daily.dev, and in that sense, yeah, we give some voice to good content.
Yeah, and I can also personally confirm this because I've published an article on Hashnode some weeks ago, and once it was published on daily.dev, yeah, I got a spike. Maybe I don't have the analytics right now, but I can say this for sure. Yeah, so it's also helped me. Thank you for this. Because
Mhm.
yeah, that's it. It's great because there are so many content creators now, but maybe as you said, maybe it's a bit segmented. I don't know. There are some pieces. We should need something like that. So yeah, thank you
Of
for
course.
this. Can you talk 5 minutes about startups? So would you, because for example, I had some people, maybe they got some good idea, some failed startup, some kind of good. So can you help me to maybe give some advices to people that maybe have an idea, they would like to start, but I think that they are maybe a little bit scared because this is
Mhm.
something, yeah, that maybe could be what
Of
can.
course. So like if you ask me, and again, those things are very much a matter of opinion. Like other people can argue with what I say, which is fine, but this is based on my experience. So I've been an entrepreneur founder for already 8 years now. Um, And I think that the single most important thing is to fall in love with the problem that you're solving. So we talked about it a little bit earlier in this interview, but I think this point really, really worth to expand and to talk a little bit about more. So in many cases, from what I saw when I helped as an advisor or as mentor to other founders, is that in many cases we start with a solution, right? So we see something in the world and we immediately go ahead and we want to solve it. That's one case. Another case is, especially for technical people, they have some kind of technology that they want to try out. So like, for example, they want to do a project in AI, or they want to test, I don't know, different library or something. And then they go ahead and start a project, and only afterwards they think whether it solves a problem or not. So from what I learned, like the most important thing is to always start with a problem. And a problem doesn't exist in an empty space. Like a problem always belongs to a certain audience, right? So each audience, each person has different problems. And there are many different kinds of tools and ways to understand whether you're solving a good problem or I wouldn't say a bad problem, but a small problem that doesn't worth your time. And it comes down to several criteria, and let me list it for you, Francesco, and for our listeners. So one criteria that I found to be very effective is that good problems are problems that are very popular. So whenever you share it with your target audience, immediately everybody recognizes what you're talking about. Like you don't even have to explain it. This is a very good criteria in many cases. Another criteria is that good problems are frequent. Like they meet you along the day several times. And the more times it happens, like the more urgent it becomes, which brings me to the third criteria, which good problems are urgent problems. Are problems that you need to solve now, because if you don't solve it, impact your quality of life, it impacts your ability to bring money home, or it just wastes a lot of time, whatever. And there are other like families of problem that are also mandatory. So let's say there is a new regulation or a new rule or a new thing coming out that people have to comply with. That's also usually a great opportunity for new problems to solve. And there are other stuff like good problems usually cost a lot of money or cost a lot of time. So time is also some kind of currency, right? So if there is some kind of task that is taking a long time and you can shorten it dramatically, that's also usually a very, very good starting point. And as you rightfully mentioned, like earlier today, the best way to spot a problem in many cases is just because you have this problem, or your friends or your colleagues or people around you have this problem. And that way you don't need to come up with a problem, you just know it from your daily life, and that can be a really, really good starting point for everyone.
I totally agree with this. I also like your approach that you're not saying, for example, something specific, but maybe you are helping some out there, someone who's maybe are almost there. Maybe they need some pieces. So yeah, it's really simple explained, but I really like simple. For example, I really like really simple and powerful things and messages like this. Yeah, not too complicated, not talking for 3 hours, but you nailed this in some minutes. And for example, yeah, maybe you are really solving some problem out there. So solving problems is really good. Yeah, also for me, I try to sometimes, yeah, so to help people. And also, yeah, I think it's not just about money, what can you do, but it's also it's good to help people. Then you
Hmm.
get some, yeah, maybe also some new connections with people, as you said. For example, the person who is just thanking you for what you have done. They will showing the analytics. I think you create some, yeah, some connections with people. When you solve people problem, the people are happy, basically. Yeah. So this is
Yeah.
very simple, but that's it. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah.
And the same way, like I met you, right? It's such an open world today. Like everybody can reach out to anyone. Like the other day, I saw this
Yeah.
game developer that tweeted about him developing a game
Yeah.
about colonializing Mars, and he wants to use Elon Musk's name and SpaceX name. And he said, "I'm going to tweet this request to Elon until he answers every day for a year." And only after 154 times, I think, Elon Musk suddenly answered that, yeah, you can use our name and we're probably not going to sue you. So today you can reach out to anyone, right? And
Yeah.
and you can understand a lot of things just by being online.
Yeah, and you can never know. Maybe if there are also very famous people, millionaire people, maybe they're just yeah, they're just humans. Yeah. In the end, that's it. Maybe it's harder to reach them because, for example, just for me, it's already hard to answer every message. So I can just imagine Elon Musk how busy he could be. But it's wonderful that at least he replied. Yeah, but yeah, sometimes it's not that people are just bad. Maybe they just can't really don't have the time, or maybe they have other priorities. Maybe, but that's it. So yeah, so there is a hope. Yeah. I also sometimes when I try to interview people, sometimes I send many messages. Sometimes people send to me many messages before I answer. So sorry for that. But yeah, if
It
you keep
happens.
going, yeah. Yeah, at least maybe in the end you will get a no and you can relax at least. So this is a good answer anyway, in my opinion. Yeah. So yeah. So thank you for sharing this, Nimrod. Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah. Do you so? Yeah. Have you talked about already the challenges? So what would you like to do? Especially,
Mhm.
what do you want to talk about? Something special about daily.dev, of course.
Yeah, let me share with you like a very interesting technical challenge that
Mhm,
we're now already in advanced stages of solving, but
mhm,
and we started to rolling it out recently.
mhm,
So when Daily.dev started, we used to get content from around 20 or 30 sources, different, like the top, let's say 20 or 30 magazines. And by now it's like reaching almost more than 400 sources. So the amount of content we get is huge. This is one issue that we had. The second issue that we have is the granularity of the community, right? So when we're getting close to 100K developers, nobody
nice.
is the same, right? They're using different frameworks. Somebody's developing web, the other one is developing mobile, and the third one is even DevOps. Like we have, and it's totally different. Like we can call all of them developers, but it's not really the same. Like we get that.
Yeah.
So and the third thing is that when you have a lot of content, so how do you make sure that everything gets an equal chance to get to the top of the feed, right? Because at the end of the day, daily is kind of a democracy. There's no editor there. Like we never choose what will go up to the top. We just let the community decide it.
Mm,
So now there's been a very big technical challenge on how are we going to take this massive amount of content every day, every hour, and to give it a fair chance to be exposed to the community, and how we're going to distribute it in a much smarter way so that people who are interested in specific, let's say, programming language would see more of that, while other people won't. And and we did a lot of work, including some NLP NLP project on top of the content to try and extract tags, like to find what is the actual topic of the article and not just what the writer says is the topic. Because writers in many cases just choose topics that would give the biggest reach, but the article
Yeah.
doesn't necessarily
Yeah, and
address that.
sometimes maybe there are many topics in the same article. For example, I like this kind of articles when you mix a lot of
Exactly.
technologies, Docker, Postgres. No? So maybe in the title you say something, but it's not all about that. Maybe there are some people, maybe they are interested in that part hidden. I really like this idea. Maybe
Yes. So we did this kind of our own tagging system that goes based on the content, and we've been doing a lot of manual work. Like Ido and I went through over 40,000 tags just by ourselves. So essentially, like, we saw any kind of topic that can appear out there based on 3 years of data. It's not like something fresh.
Yeah.
And it enabled us, to shrink everything to a really fixed set of topics that are automatically being tagged, and this, we hope, like, would bring much more relevant content to our community members.
Yeah. I worked on something like that maybe some years ago, and also on university on this problem. For example, there are some words that maybe if they appear there are too many. Then you have to remove them, of course, because maybe they could be some type of words. But I really like this idea. Yeah, you're kind of how you like to work on every article. It's not just random, like even like given in the void, but
Random.
you are trying to give the right articles to the right people, something like that. I think I could try to explain something like that. So good luck with that, because we know that it's not that easy. You're not at a point when you can just have the tags from a text. There are so many techniques. I used some of them, but that could be interesting in my opinion. So thank you.
Let's see. I mean, we're starting rolling it out, the new content system, and hopefully we're going to be able to share some of the metrics and the logic behind it and how it works, so that people who are more interested in the technological challenge that was here, and they want to deeply look into what we've done, so it will be open for everyone. Just go ahead and see.
This could be interesting in my opinion. Thank you, Rimran. So I think we are almost done. If you want to leave maybe a final message to some developers out there, and then we can say goodbye and have a nice day. Thank you so much, Nimrod.
Thank you, Francesco. So I think that I'll just leave it with one message, that being open and being frank and being authentic is all we have. Like, this is our digital signature, and just be curious, ask things, don't be afraid to contact anyone. If you want to do something, just go ahead and do it. And I think that way, I personally was able to meet so many good friends, like you, Francesco, and many other great people, not only on Twitter, but in many other cases of life. And that really opens up a lot of windows for new opportunities. So go ahead and beat the world.
Thank you so much. I always talk about making stronger connections with people, and you said be frank. So I'm already frank. Let's just joke about that. But yes, so thank you. Have a nice day. And good luck with anything. I'd like to watch maybe this video maybe in 1 year, and let's see your product. I think that you overcome that 100,000. I think maybe even earlier. So
thank you very much. I really hope we're going to get there.
Yeah. Bye bye.
All right.
Nimrod.
Bye.
Bye.